what you make has to be useful to your clients. They have to. It's an obvious thing, but you gotta watch out that you always look at your clients, see what they need, see what competition is trying to influence them, and then make up your mind as to what to do about it. Because many a big order was lost by somebody coming in with a better product, convincing the customer to try it. He has our product, but try this one. It doesn't cost you anything, try it out. And when it was better, when you come back to the client, he says, no, we just placed an order for 10,000 pieces, but it was a little bit better than yours. So you got to be very careful there and always understand your customer, see what he needs and why he needs it. Not only that, you say, why do you need this improvement? Or if he asks you for that. And also look around the world and see what's happening so that you're not caught by surprise. In the products we make, most of the time, it's performance of what we sell, and the price as well. But the most important thing is not the price. It's not the most important thing. It's important, but not the most important. The first thing, the client, you got to supply what he likes and understand why he likes it. You see, why does he like this here on the right-hand side? You got to, somebody must learn about that. So you got to know the customer. You got to know why of his business. You got to know his business when you sell him something. And you got to be, think about that all the time. The other thing is you got to have, it's very important to have good products, that people like your product. Because if they don't like your product, in the end you'll also get into a lot of trouble. So you got to make sure that it works the way people expect and the way they want it. And sometimes you're wrong, But we're never in the position, I think, of ever to losing our money because we couldn't get the product right. But many companies, well, not many companies, but some companies put out a product and that kills them because it doesn't work properly the way they want. So the products have to be good. People have to feel happy with your product. And if we don't fix it, we give people the money back. Give people the money back. Because you love your product so much and it's hard to change, you don't do it. But then you pay a big price for that. So you gotta watch it, and you gotta make very heavy decisions about that. It's difficult, especially a thing like that. It's difficult to change. And we don't study the things sometimes that we know will make us change our mind. I was very sad when we saw a big decrease in the check business. That was sad, It was such a nice product. It won design prizes. It was also very beautiful. Beautiful to look at. It worked extremely well. Everybody, but then they just stopped the checks. people stopped using checks, and you had to get out of the business. For instance, in disk drives, that happened, and they were changing very quickly. First there was 5 megabytes, then there was 10 megabytes, then there was 20 megabytes, 40 megabytes, 80 megabytes. And somebody that was making a lot, say, of the 40 megabytes, he says, look, we don't need any more than 40 megabytes. Who needs more than 40 megabytes? How? That would capture the name of every family in the United States. You don't need that. And so the salesman goes into this computer company that buys the disk drives and says, are you happy with your product? With our product? And they say, yeah, we're very happy. But they already know there's another guy with a 60 megabyte thing. And they know it's there, but they come back home and says, look, we got all the machinery ready, the packing machinery, how we pack the trucks with these disk drives. We know everything. And the other one's a little different. And you don't do anything. Next time the guy comes in, he says, by now we know you made a lot of sales of computers. You must need new disk drives. He says, yeah, we do, but we just placed this order for the 60 megabyte from your competitor. Why didn't you tell us? We're working together for years. Because our customers demand that. And you lost the order. See? So you got to, in an industry, in sort of more or less a high-tech industry, you got to watch these because these things happen. Ideas come very quick, and you have to make these terrible decisions. Sort of in our type of business, innovation is essential, because our competitors are also very innovative. So we're competing against, very good people, and you have to make your product better. Very often, you should innovate, and these innovations, psychologically, sometimes are very difficult to make. But you have to make them. If you don't do that, somebody else will. Because remember, we're sort of a high-tech, semi-high-tech company. But the other guys that are in the technology companies are also always thinking of new things. And, to be successful, you've got to come out with some products that are completely different. And if you do that, and it's the right thing that you thought up, then I think you can have very big success. One of the ways to get ideas is to go to a big show of your product and spend a couple of days walking around and asking questions and this and this. And then someone say, we could do that. We can do it better than them. Then come home and begin to sell your ideas to top management that will finally make the ultimate decision. But you have to do that all the time. We do that all the time. I used to do at least 4 or 5 shows a year. Walked around, and usually at that time, we came home with an idea and started to work on it in Belgium for this coordinate measuring machine. See, that idea was born from a show. Somebody invented something, and I said, we got to have that, and I think we could do a better job. Well, that type of thing today happens a lot because there are many shows, many places where these products are exhibited, and you got many companies that have higher, more trained people. I mean, your people get better. Before Olivetti, if you had a 10-digit calculator, you had 10 keys for each digit. So if you had a 10-digit thing, you had 100 buttons to push. One day, Mr. Olivetti was walking, because he liked machines and machine tools, and they had a wonderful machine tool, in operation there. And the head of the workshop came, Mr. Olivetti, I think I can make a machine that can have any number of digits with only 10 buttons. Mr. Olivetti, really, you can do that? He said, yeah, I can do it. I think I can do it. And if you give me permission, I'll make you a little model in a short time. So I said, okay, go ahead. And that's the whole secret of new inventions. Because something very new is very fragile. He could have said to him, look, why the hell didn't everybody is doing that? Big companies, even bigger than ours. He says, and they don't have it. How can you have that? He says, well, look, I don't know. It's not finished yet, but I'll show you what I've done. He said, okay, go ahead. But if he would have said another 2 or 3 bad words, he says, it's very difficult. We have no time. That would be dropped. So there I learned from this story mainly, and then also the way Olivetti behaved, is that something new is very fragile. And if you don't treat it very nicely, it'll escape. You won't make it. And then in 10 years from now, somebody else might make it. They say, I had an idea 10 years ago. And it is gone. So you got to be very careful in a technological company to let people do things that they don't even have to tell you about. Give them the freedom not to tell you. No doubt it's very difficult. That's very difficult. It's much easier to say, okay, I'll give this to this guy and this to this guy and this guy. But then you begin to lose an intimate contact with your product and begin to know it a little bit less. Anyway, I think inside our company, we make nearly everything. We don't make everything, but we make and want to make nearly everything with very good machinery, with very good training, with people that come and service the machines. And we feel very comfortable there. And when we get a lot of orders we can't fulfill, then we give the extra out. We still give work out, but only when we can't make enough ourselves at a particular time. Yes, you can have a very good company and one that's also vertically integrated. You just walk into the factory there now, you'll see a lot of things that can be made outside. But when you have that power inside your company, you can have an idea, and sometimes go over to the customer and show them the idea made a day later. Made and painted and good looking and everything. I think I can remember a few orders we got like that, showing the customer the factory and how we can make his product, and then you get the order. I can think of one case. There's a company from Venezuela. He wanted to make a ticket collector for buses in Venezuela. And he bought 20 or 30 of these from France, and he was making it, and I met up with these guys somewhere at a show, and they asked me, said, you vertically integrate all that. Can you make this thing for us? I had a look at it. I said, yeah, we can make it. So the guy came with one of his technical people. He came to Gravataí, and we made him the whole product in the same day. The whole product in the same day. It was even a wonder to me how he did that. He took the thing, took a few measurements. We had automatic design equipment, everything, and punched it out. We got a big order. So those things are, tremendous. We were the first numerical control company that used a system to control the machine, which was different from anybody else's system. And I'll try to explain that. You see, if you have to make, say you have to make a circle, you see, but you have two axes, so you have to coordinate the axes so that all the velocities are exactly correct for every part of the circle. So like the velocity of this axis continuously changes, the velocity of this axis continuously changes, but they have to work in conjunction. Otherwise it'll become an egg and not a circle. The way you derive the signal to drive the motors is you put in a lag. That is, you told the machine to go somewhere, but it didn't go there until a few milliseconds later. See? And the other one too. So, I mean, I'm talking now about very small things, but a machine tool customer is a terrible customer because he says, look, you said this would be accurate to 2 microns, and it's accurate to 3 microns. Take the machine back. They're very fussy customers, so you have to do it right. I encourage people to be very concerned about the place they work. Everything, to try to show them that everything that has success very often has to do with hard work and intelligent work and all that. I emphasize those things. And I know a lot of people like to work with me, but I think there are also a significant number that maybe don't like me so much. And I don't know what to say about that, but I don't think I ever sort of said to myself, how do I look to people and make myself look better or worse? I don't know anyway, I encourage them, you know, to work hard. I think hard work is one of the important, very important things that one should do. See, usually an older company, see executives in there that are already, you know, they like to fly business class or first class. Each one gets a hotel room. This is no good for the company. People shouldn't waste money, because once a company slumps down and, you know, thinks of its comfort more than the company is not gonna, I think the company won't be as good as it would be if everybody gets up in the morning and says, look, what do I have to do today? And runs and goes and things like that. So I think in our company to date, we don't have that type of mordomias. Everybody, when they go out, they take the last plane out and the first plane in. And most of them don't do things for their own comfort. They do it for the company. And I think that's correct, because that's the community, you know. And they should think of themselves a little less and about the community a little more. And the leader can inspire that by himself doing that. In companies like ours, engineers are extremely important. But engineers, very often, 10 of one is not equal to one engineer. If you get extraordinary engineers, that are capable of doing extraordinary things, they can really produce a tremendous amount more important things. So I learned, try to find always very, very good engineers, follow them very much, you know, call them in once a month and have a little talk. What are you working on? What are you doing? To show him that you have the interest in what he's doing, and he wants to help him to develop things, because a good engineer is always trying to invent new things. That's the type of engineer. You only find very few of them in the whole world. But that's what you should try to aim at when you look at your company, and notice that your products need a shot in the arm. You try to maybe strengthen your engineering group. So you've got to choose them and then follow them. What's this guy doing? You can ask the president of a company. And he should be able to tell you what his top guys are doing. The ambient there was very different from like Brazil, you know. In Brazil, if somebody works 1 minute overtime, the government makes a big deal out of it and doesn't allow you to do it. It doesn't allow you to invent things. Because to invent things, you've got to leave people free, you know. They work this, and BTH was open night and day. They never closed. Any engineer could go in there anytime without, you know, they knew you at the door. You didn't need any documents. You can go wherever you want. Use certain machines and test equipment and everything in there. So it was a very good atmosphere to try new things and to invent things because no limit, and everybody encouraged that, because I worked there all the time. And also at night. I go home. I had a bicycle there. You go there with a bicycle, take about 15 minutes. Had something to eat, and I go back and come back 11, 12 o'clock at night, and come in. There was no clock. You come in anytime you want, and work there. And this is, and everything was brand new. There was nothing very much that you can copy. I saw in Borgo Lombardo people that worked really night and day. But I mean night and day. When I mean night, it's till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then they'd get up, maybe come to work a little late. But they were always working on this computer, this which they hoped to be the first transistor computer in the world. They tried to beat IBM there to the mark. But it was a very big project, it was a very big computer. Finance have a lot of cash. Back you up, you feel more confident, you can take more chances, you can do a lot of things. And when you start the company, if you can get as stockholders people that want to see growth and not dividends, then you'll have less trouble than if you don't do that. But everybody knew that everybody knew, and the ones that invested also knew that we want to grow. We want to grow. And to do that, you have to keep reinvesting your money and your facilities and your engineers and all that. And for that, you need money, especially for the first years. I think nearly all of our stockholders knew that we don't want to pay dividends. But I think nearly everybody understood that at the beginning I used to send out reports to the stockholders what we were doing and about the new products and everything. Maybe the first principle I thought of, and maybe people who start younger companies don't think of it so much, is you need cash. You need money in case something happens. Either a product doesn't work or somebody sues you or whatever it is. You need backup so that somebody can't put you out of business. At least for the first part. So that was one thing, and that's why I wanted to have the cash. And I said to myself, although somebody else then told me that he did the same thing, that is to get no orders for a year and be alive and still have cash at the end of it. The other thing I think that is extremely important is always to pay your debt on time. You owe something to somebody, pay them. No matter if you get yourself into a mortgage or anything, you got to sell your house, sell the house. But pay what you owe. Because I saw in my observation that if you don't do that, nobody will forgive you. It's an unforgivable thing. I was never close to any financial disaster. But I'm a frugal man. I'm not a big spender. And I spend what I like, but I don't think I'm an exaggerator on spending. Hundreds of people would listen to what he has to say, and then it became holy to them. They went and did it. And did it. He had a way of speaking to you without any aggression whatsoever. I never saw him get mad, but maybe he was mad inside, but he managed to show the people that he was very sincere, which I think he was. He was also a very competent man. He understood not only the product at the time, but he understood the future of that product very, very fully, very, very bright. He was also had, his bearing was also very nice. And all the people that he was the head of, I can't think anybody that didn't listen to what he was saying, where we were going, and how it needed to be done. And he let the people do it with complete liberty. There was, at Borgo Lombardo, there was a place where they had cafezinhos. And he'd never say, look, people shouldn't go out to have a cafezinho. So the factory was full, the cafezinho place was full, and in the cafezinhos, all people were talking about is their work. So it was just a sort of an atmosphere that, I don't know, I never saw the equal of him, Very extraordinary person. And I can't really describe, what it is he did. I don't think he did anything that said, look, if I behave like that, they'll call me a good manager. But what he said, he saw. Maybe it was a little bit like Christ, The people were like,